Hi friends, welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name is Neha, welcome. Today I'm gonna talk you through Dr. McDougall's top 10 tips for maximum weight loss. Let's jump in. So I'm gonna go through each of the 10 tips and then share with you a little bit of what I think about them as well. But we're just gonna dive right in. I have them here on my phone, and the first tip is start each meal with a soup and or salad and or fruit. This is an excellent way to help your stomach fill up on foods that are much more calorie light and much more calorie dilute. So this goes back to the concept of calorie density. You definitely want to fill up on things that are filled with water and fiber, because water plus fiber equals bulk. So by starting with a piece of fruit, or some salad, light veggies, or even soup, which is predominantly water, you're helping take up more space in your stomach. And then you want to have your nice starchy starches after that. Tip number 2 is Dr. McDougall's 50-50 plate method. And so it says, follow the 50-50 plate method for your meals, filling half your plate by visual volume with non-starchy vegetables and 50% with minimally processed starches. Choose fruit for dessert. So this will also help you fill up on things that are not calorie dense. So it's kind of, both tips are talking about food sequencing. You want to make sure that at least half of what's on your plate are the much lighter fruits and vegetables, and then the other half that will give you the satiation will be starches. Tip number 3, greatly reduce or eliminate added sugars and added salts. This includes gourmet sugars and salts too. If either is troublesome for you, you can eliminate them. So this is definitely a great tip, especially if you're new and starting out. I would highly recommend you try to cut out, if not completely eliminate, added sugar and added salt. The reason being, they are going to enhance and enrich the flavor of your food, and that might cause you to overeat. If something is really, really sweet and very tickling your senses, it can be a lot easier to overdo it if you have a sweet tooth. And similarly, it can be easy to overdo it with food that has a lot of salt in it if you happen to enjoy really salty food. So in the beginning, if you can't cut it out completely, try to step it down little by little and try to get as close to zero as possible. And this will really help you reset your taste buds so that you can actually understand and get to know, reacclimate to the natural flavors of food. And then once you've gotten a good amount of weight off, or if you've got a much better handle on your eating, it's okay to sprinkle a little bit of sugar or salt right when you're eating the food. But I would still recommend do not cook your food with salt, because it just dissipates. It just kind of disappears in the cooking process, and you end up sprinkling a little bit of salt on top anyway. So just save that for the very end. Tip number 4, eliminate all animal foods: dairy, meat, eggs, fish, and seafood. So these are foods that are typically highly processed. They come with tons of saturated fat. They're often cooked in even more oil. There's nothing of value in here for you, especially at this time when you're trying to take control of your health. So even if you don't see yourself as a vegetarian or vegan or are interested in any of the labels, that's completely okay. You don't have to label yourself or completely change who you are. But temporarily, at least, you do have to cut these foods out. Because what you want to do is eat the food that is the most nutritionally packed, and animal foods just are not. Tip number 5 is an interesting one. Eliminate all higher fat plant foods. For example, nuts, seeds, avocado, tofu, and soy. Now this is the one that I think can cause the most confusion, because you might be thinking, well, aren't nuts and seeds healthy food? Aren't they good for me? And the answer is yes, they are definitely health foods, but they are not weight loss foods. Just because something is really healthy, like a handful of nuts, does not mean that it's not really, really high in fat, and therefore high in calories, and therefore not very helpful when you are trying to get into a weight loss mode. And again, this is his tips for maximum weight loss. So temporarily, he advises that you could eliminate all of the higher plant fat foods. In general, I do avoid avocado. I don't put it all over everything. I am temporarily really lowering my consumption of nuts as snacks or seeds in smoothies or peanut butter, almond butter, things like that. I am mindfully consuming them, but on my most strict weeks early on in my journey, I definitely just temporarily cut them out because again, I wanted to reset my taste buds and be able to have a little bit of those things in the future without overdoing it. Tip number 6, eliminate any added oil. This is a really sneaky one, you guys. Oil is something that is so high in calories and it's hidden in your food. We all have kind of been brought up to believe that there's no way to cook food without oil. And it turns out that's just not the case. That's not true at all. I definitely had to get my mind wrapped around this idea for a while. But what you want to do is start getting used to baking or roasting foods on parchment paper because you don't need oil for that. You can certainly cook things in water. So I call it water frying or water sauteing. So instead of 2 spoons of oil, you just put 2 spoons of water in a pan and just keep a little bit of water at the bottom of the pan so things don't stick, and you can cook that way. You can of course cook things in a pressure cooker or instant pot or slow cooker, just where you would add water and stock. Add that and don't add in any oil to the bottom of the pan. So there are many, many ways that you can cook without added oil. But this is such a really great way to jumpstart your weight loss, you guys. Oil just has tons of calories in it. It's so calorie dense and heavy, and there's no nutrient value in there. It would be so much better for you to just cut that out and make sure you're getting nutrients. And if you have to have some kind of fats in your diet to feel satisfied, then go back to whole form plant fats that are still in their original form. So that's when you can sprinkle in a bit of avocado, add in a handful of nuts from time to time here and there if you have to have it. But you don't want to have those fats in a processed, compressed, extracted form like oil. Tip number 7, eliminate all higher calorie dense foods, including flour products. For example, bread, bagels, muffins, crackers, dry cereals, cookies, cakes, puffed cereals, air popped popcorn, and dried fruit. So again, this one might seem a little bit extreme as well, but reminder, this is for maximum weight loss. So if you just want to get going, or if you've been doing the Starch solution for a while and you've hit a bit of a plateau and you just want to get things moving again, these are some tips that you can try and see if your body responds. So in this case, the idea is that flour products, puffed cereals, and dried fruit, to some extent, these are processed foods. It's not the original form, right? It's still, but I would say this is minimal processing, but it could absolutely help you lose weight. And the reason is when you, for example, make flour, you're taking the original grain like wheat, and then you're grinding that up. Well, typically you dry it and then you grind it, and then it becomes a flour, and then you mix it with other things, like oil or butter or sugar or salt. So you're adding, enhancers into there, and then you bake it up into something really, really delicious that's very, very far away from the original form, right? So when you have something like ground flour, your body is no longer doing the digestive work of breaking down that grain that it originally was. There's so much more surface area because an outside machine has processed and broken it down already. So it becomes a lot faster for your body to absorb all those calories. And you're not really getting the benefit of the fiber to slow down and throttle the way that you're absorbing the food. Dry cereals, bread, bagels, air pop popcorn. These are things that I think the regular Starch Solution book allows for, but I would say for maximum weight loss, if you are having a lot of those snacky things and you're noticing it's really easy to kind of just keep consuming them, then yeah, go ahead and cut them out as well. I try to really limit cereals and things like that. It's more just like I'm in a rush. I have to, get out the door for a doctor's appointment or something, and I don't have time to make like a nice warm potato sit-down breakfast, so I'll have something quick and just get out the door. It is convenience food, but not everyday food, in my opinion. And then dried fruit. I pretty much never have dried fruit, you guys. I don't have it in the house, and I don't really choose that as my snack either. Because if you think about like a beautiful mango, a mango is a nice, large, chunky piece of fruit. And then what's happening is they're taking out all that wonderful water that's in it, and all the sugars get really concentrated into like a little strip of mango or like a fruit roll-up, fruit leather type of a thing. And so the calories, the sugar, it's all really concentrated because the water has been taken out. So definitely avoid that in general, I would say. Tip number 8, don't drink your calories. I'm sure every dieter out there has heard that one. I know I have, but it says, especially from juices and sugar sweetened beverages. So what this really gets at is fiber. Even when you have like an extracted juice, you're squeezing a fruit or veggie, and what gets left behind, what gets thrown away, is actually that yummy fiber. That's what's really good for you because it's really good for your gut bacteria. And all you're left with is just sort of the water and some of the nutrients. And in the absence of fiber, your gut is going to absorb that sugar and those calories a lot faster. And that's what will put juice and things on a higher, I think glycemic index is what it's called. So definitely don't drink your calories. In terms of drinks, all I really have in my day-to-day life is water. I am always drinking water all day long. I do allow myself some tea, herbal teas and caffeine-free teas I do have a bit of black tea in the morning, and that does have some caffeine in it. And I will sometimes also have decaf coffee, but caffeine is very dehydrating, so it's important to not overdo it on caffeine and make sure you're continuously drinking lots and lots of water. If you really prefer flavored water, you could simply create like fruit infused water if you want. Just squeeze some lemon in there, cut up some cucumber slices and throw that in there in your water and let that kind of hang out for a while. You can do blueberries, you can do lime, you could do mint and strawberry. We call it spa water in our house because it's kind of what they give you when you like check in for a massage or something. So why not make some of those at home? You will absolutely enjoy it, and it will get your palate more and more used to drinking a lot of water. Tip number 9 says, follow these principles, eating whenever you're hungry until you are comfortably full. Don't starve yourself and don't stuff yourself. So I think this is a really important tip. And I want to do another video about like fasting or eating windows and things like that. But essentially this boils down to listen to your body. Get in tune with your hunger cues. You don't have to eat according to a clock or according to what someone else tells you is mealtime. All you really want to do and have to do is when your body tells you it's hungry because you feel emptiness in your stomach and you hear some growling noises and your mouth is starting to water because it hasn't eaten and it's been several hours, that is the time that you should eat. And don't hold yourself to some visual weighed out portion or what someone else is eating who is joining you for a meal. You don't have to copycat and eat as much as they eat if it's overeating for you, and you don't have to limit yourself and eat as little as that person eats if that person happens to have a lesser appetite than you. Always listen to your body and eat to fullness and satisfaction for you. You might be wondering, well, how do I know the difference between feeling full and feeling stuffed? I've seen this question kind of pop up on other people's videos, and my answer to that is I feel comfortably full. I don't feel tight in my pants. I don't feel like I have difficulty breathing. I don't feel like I'm ready for a nap, but I do feel full in the sense that I don't have an interest in having another 2 or 3 bites of food. I feel like I've reached the max of my capacity while still feeling comfortable in my body. Tip number 10 reads, avoid being sedentary and aim for at least 30 minutes or more of moderate exercise daily. For example, brisk walking. So this is an interesting one. In the main starch solution book, exercise is not really a required component. I don't think so anyway. But again, for maximum weight loss, adding in a component of exercise will certainly help you because you will be burning up some calories, and getting some activity every day is just gonna make you feel good. It will get those endorphins going. It will get you into a positive headspace. Now notice, it's not saying to do extremely vigorous, really difficult classes that intimidate you at the gym and make you feel bad about yourself, right? It's not saying to do that. It's saying just moderate exercise daily, brisk walking, 30 minutes a day. So all you have to do is put on your shoes and maybe go around your neighborhood, go around the block for a little bit. And if you can't manage 30 minutes, that's fine. Start with 5, 10, 15 minutes. Depending on where you are at in your journey, daily might not even be realistic. It might be just 2 or 3 times a week, and that's okay. But again, trying these things will help you kind of jumpstart and accelerate your weight loss. All right, guys, those are the 10 tips from Dr. McDougall's checklist for maximum weight loss. I will also leave this linked down below in the description box if you want to read these for yourselves and dig around and learn more. We've got lots more videos coming up, so I can't wait to see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!